Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
Hi humans! Before we kick off the episode, a quick announcement. This Friday, August 14th, we kick off our newest adventure on the Friday Night Quest podcast with special guest Jonathan Keltz from CW's Reign. If you like the crazy stories we get into here on Because Comics and you'd like to listen to Mike, Jonathan Keltz, and our other players fight monsters and get into shenanigans each Friday, head over and check it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. And of course, if you guys are enjoying the show and you'd like to help us out, please consider hopping on iTunes and leaving us a rating and review. Any 5-star rating really helps people find the show and allows us to continue bringing you these crazy stories. With that said, let's start the show.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics.
Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 34. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the flash dancing Mike Christensen. Guys, if you could see what I'm seeing right now, the acrobatics are beautiful.
Flash dance!
You're sweating horribly.
I'm so fat. I'm so old.
Directly out of your nose, though, which is really strange
I
place
think
to
it
sweat.
might be blood.
Yeah, that's blood. Oh my god. I think we need to call an ambulance at the top of this episode. I guess we'll do the podcast from inside the
Flash
ambulance.
dance! That's all part of the dance.
It is. Oh, the bleeding from the nose previously, and then needing to go to the hospital, and then ending it with flash
I'm
dance.
committed to my art, Jay.
Look, I can't judge. I know very little about flash dance.
Showing your ignorance.
I'm so sorry, guys. I came very unprepared. I knew Mike was going to flash dance here.
Yeah.
And I just didn't do my flash dance research.
Flash dance.
How many more times can we say flash dance in this
Flash
episode?
dance.
Amazing. Guys, so at the top of our episodes, we like to talk about Flashdance, but we also like to talk about the comics that we're reading and our polls. So my poll for this week is a comic called East of West. It's from Image, and it's written by Jonathan Hickman and drawn by Nick Dragotta.
Hey, they're good at their jobs.
Yeah, basically the premise is, at some point in an alternate world, the Civil War never ended. The Civil War kept going. It's this dystopian, destructive future, and eventually a comet crash landed into the center of the U.S. that disrupted the Civil War, of course, right? Like in our history. And and they went to the landing of this comet, all the warring factions, and there was like a prophecy that came from it that Armageddon was coming. And this prophecy was declared the message, and it declared the end of times. And because of this great news, everybody was like, you know what? Let's stop fighting. And they formed their own separate nations, and the world is basically in this comic just the US. It's not like, oh yeah, here we are in the US and the other side of the world. It's basically, this is just the world.
Yeah.
It's us in the dystopian US. And it is broken up into 7 nations. The 7 nations are the Union, the Confederacy, all familiar names.
Sure.
Now we've got some new ones: the Kingdom, the Burning Plain, the Endless Nation, the Republic of Texas.
Sure, that's what it was.
Yeah. And the PRA of Mao.
Wait, what?
Yes. I guess the nations of China have come to America and they've taken up like a big slice in California.
People's Republic of America of Mao?
I guess.
Maybe?
I think that's what it stands for.
Interesting.
But basically, this is, if you guys have ever read the Dark Tower series.
That's Stephen King, right?
Stephen King, yeah. And if you guys are into Wild West and sci-fi, which is totally not a popular genre.
We've talked about it with Copperhead before on the
Yeah, exactly. And this is a huge immersive world. And basically the premise is, in this dystopian Civil War future, right? We follow 3 main characters. We follow Death. What? Yes, Death, the horseman of the apocalypse.
I was gonna ask if it was the same guy.
He is our hero.
Sure.
Yep. He's accompanied by 2 witches on his journey, a man and a woman. One is named Crow, another one is named Wolf. They are both awesome.
Is Crow the man or the woman?
Crow is the woman and Wolf is the man.
Okay.
And and how they're portrayed is they're portrayed in like kind of black and white, and they can change into their, like, Crow is always like made of a flock of birds and then she lands as one person.
Huh.
And then Wolf is always a bunch of like white wolves and then he forms one dude.
That's
it's very
rad.
cool. It's very supernaturally, very like, they don't explain it. They're just like, these are witches and they turn into wolves and birds.
I accept it.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
And the antagonists of this story are, if we've got Death is our hero, the antagonists are Conquest. What? That's not the normal one, but War and Pestilence. And they're the other of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Sure.
Who are pretty mad at their brother for not being their friend anymore.
Aw,
And
they broke up.
They broke up. So this premise is
Is
basically...
he off to do solo work?
He's off to doing his own solo business, but he's, like I said, a hero of our story, and he teams up with Crow and Wolf, and he's basically trying to stop this apocalyptic end of times that's happening, which is weird for a horseman named Death to be not all about. And there's other reasons why he's doing this. I won't get into those reasons. I'd love for you guys to find out yourselves. But really, this is a hugely immersive world that it's issues upon issues that, just like Saga, will sometimes take single issues just to talk about, hey, that ranger, that sheriff of that town, this guy's super cool. Let's talk about him for an issue.
Yeah.
And then come back to the main story. And guys, where they go with this is far. I think at some point Death goes to a river and talks to like a river spirit who lets them into a dungeon to go down and talk to like an oracle in the center of the earth. Like, that's the thing that happens in this comic. Cut to a judge and jury attorney situation in Texas. Like, this all happens in the same comic. It's so weird.
Wow.
It's so fun, and it's amazingly written. It's amazingly paced. And without getting into any other spoilers of the story, please check it out. You're going to have tons and tons of fun, especially if you like digging into a rich new world, much like Saga. So that's my pull. So, Mike, what is your pull for this episode?
My pull's also going to be pretty quick. I feel like it's going to be one of those hit you with the synopsis and sort of, let you decide on your own. It's from Oni Press. It's written and drawn by Zander Cannon. It's called Kaijumax, and it's about a maximum security prison for kaiju.
Well, that is just a great premise.
I literally don't know what else to say.
It's a maximum security prison for kaiju monsters, right?
Yeah.
Like Godzilla, Mothras.
Yeah, they're not using any of the
monsters from Pacific Rim.
They're not using any of the established ones, but there's a lot of really fun, bizarre character designs, and there's a hierarchy, and there's gangs, both in and out of
gangs
prison.
of kaiju?
Yeah.
So when you're the first kaiju on the scene, you have to punch the biggest kaiju.
Well, yeah, you have to, there's prison rules in the prison. There's different sects, and there's, people who have deals with the guards, and there's...
Who are the guards of kaiju?
They're Super Sentai, people who, turn into giant versions of themselves.
Oh my god, this
Yeah.
sounds so amazing.
It's so great. It's so great. There's, drug dealers who get their supplies from the moon. There's,
They get their supplies from the moon?
the big drug is uranium, and there's, a colony of,
Of course the big drug is
Yeah,
uranium.
there's,
Because most of these monsters are powered by uranium.
Yeah, they're all results of nuclear fallout and things like that.
Right.
The gangs are based on there's the old school, more classic kaiju, and then there's the one that are born out of radiation that are different, a different gang, and there's gangs that you have to sort of join or team up with. There's obviously the other scenes that happen in prison in terms of fights or things like that, and there's your cellmates, and there's a tiny little...
How big are these cells?
Oh, they're not really cells. It's an island.
Okay.
They're on an island, essentially, and they're craters, are what their cells are.
Oh, so they're giant craters?
Yeah, they're little valleys and things. So they're just standing in there, and there's, I think, force fields or something that keep them closed when they need to.
So are we following the guards, or are
we're
we following the kaiju?
everyone. It's an ensemble piece.
Oh, really?
So we're following most...
So it's the orange is the new black,
Yeah.
but it's the kaiju is the new
Or
whatever.
Oz, maybe? I don't know. I never watched Oz.
Sure.
But we follow one as the newbie, but he is not our only main character, because we'll go a couple issues without seeing him.
Oh, okay.
Because there's or not a couple. There's only 4 issues out by the time we're recording this. So I think he's been in most of them. But there's
he's
one where
our
he's
entry point.
He's our entry point, but they're not always focused on him, because there's guards who are focusing on for different reasons, and some are good and some are not so good.
Cool. I don't know why, but I'm picturing have you ever seen the old Ultraman shows or comics or anything like that?
I know of them, but not
I'm just
well.
imagining just an Ultraman in a guard uniform with a tie and going home at the end of the day, just being sometimes this job.
Well, what happens is that that's pretty close in tone.
Really?
But what happens is they're in not exactly guard uniforms, but more classic sort of Thunderbirds, sort of jumpsuits or whatever when they're people sized, and then they'll transform and they'll be wearing those full face masks, big skin tight suits, and they'll be kaiju sized, and they don't act hurrah, yeah, whatever. They're you shut this down, kaiju, whatever, or I'm gonna shut you down for you. And there's
very much like Green Mile Oz, straight up the guards are not
it's
pleasant.
Shawshank. There's racial slurs and things, but
racial
for
kaiju slurs?
But for kaiju, so they call each other their Liza and things like that.
Oh my god!
They went. I shouldn't say they. He, Zander Cannon, the one guy doing this comic.
Oh, it's one guy doing the whole.
One guy doing the whole thing, and in the back he has a letters page. He also has reviews of other kaiju movies, and it's just a clear passion project for him. He has you send in just a design, just like, or a description, just like, hey, a elephant kaiju or whatever, and he'll draw it in the back of the book.
And he'll put it in the comic?
And it'll probably make it into the book itself proper, but if it doesn't, it'll still be in the back of the book. Like, here's the ones that were in there, and there's like, it's so
That is
good.
amazing. I mean, that is like a premise where you're sitting there at lunch or wherever you are, and you're just like, I need a pen. I need a pen. I need a pencil. I need something.
I need to start doing this right now.
I need to do this immediately. Kaijumax.
Yeah, Kaijumax
is just so good.
It's legit. It's real good.
You really don't need anything else. We talked about it more than we needed to.
Yeah, I think we reinforced the point. I'm not even that big of a kaiju movie guy.
But it's just
and
so
I'm just
good.
Like, this is great.
The premise is just too juicy to not, like, you gotta try this.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great pull, Mike. All right, guys. Well, those were our pulls, and that'll be taking us right into our main segment. Mike, kick things off.
Batman number 251. The Joker's 5-Way Revenge. We're going back to 1973 to DC Comics, to a comic written by Denny O'Neil and drawn by Neal Adams. And it's important because we've talked about the Joker on the show. We talked about it not that long ago about the Jason Todd storyline.
Right, where he was the ambassador of Iran.
Yes, that's right. This, though, in the Golden Age, he was a, mass murderer and a serial killer.
He still does that from time to time.
No. The thing I'm going to say is that in the 50s, that stopped. Because it was the combination of the Comics Code Authority, the thing that they were being cracked down on to tone down violence, to tone down, horror elements in all comics, not just superhero comics, not just Batman.
But everywhere.
But across the board, people just had to sort of tone themselves down. There was the added fact that there was the 60s show where he was a lot campier. And also, it was actually moving in that direction because the creators felt that having a serial killer like the Joker constantly on the loose would reflect poorly on Batman.
Which is true. And
then they actually had to change it because of the Comics Code Authority, and they had to kind of change it to reflect the 60s show, which was so sort of over the top and silly and zany. So
you have to match that tone.
He became a much more of a harmless prankster.
So kind of like a trickster, basically.
Yeah, essentially. He was just like a goofy, he was a wacky guy with his wacky sidekicks, and he was just a pain in Batman's side. And this is
I covered you in bubblegum.
Yeah. and this is the comic where that stopped.
Oh, okay.
This is the comic.
Denny said no more.
Yeah. Dennis O'Neil was like, we are going a different direction. So the comic opens on a rainy night with the Joker behind the wheel of a car just laughing. It's a whole page of just, the page is filled with laughter, and the narration says, from the darkness of a country road somewhere north of Gotham City, and from the greater dark of a past filled with evil, comes a terrifyingly familiar face. Thunder racks the earth, and lightning scars the sky, and wetness streams from the clouds like tears of mourning. It is as though nature itself were weeping, and well it might, for there is death abroad this night. The Joker's 5-Way Revenge, then, is the title of this comic.
Wow.
Yeah,
so they set the tone right out the gate.
And they didn't, subtly change it, or, because, the Batman cartoon, he got a little darker, I mean, he was dark from the get-go, but you'd have, sort of references to the fact that he was a murderer, but you couldn't go full bore. This is no. He's changing right now.
Wow.
At 11 p.m. one night, the Commissioner, Gordon, is called to see a dead body on the outskirts of Gotham. We've talked about this happening before. This tends to happen to the Commissioner.
This happens to the Commissioner. He doesn't ever get a good night's sleep or a nice evening to relax.
It's a rainy night, and the body's just sitting in the mud. The body's face is twisted into a hideous grin. Batman reveals he's been there already. He's been there holding an umbrella the whole time for 10 minutes.
A bat umbrella?
No.
Just a regular umbrella.
And there were cops around. They didn't know he was there.
They didn't know he was there, but he was hanging out, just holding an umbrella.
He was there for 10 minutes before the Commissioner got there.
Why do I find it very difficult to imagine Batman holding an umbrella in the rain?
You need to picture this still being the Batman of the 70s. You need to picture this still being a little bit of Adam West Batman. A little bit still.
Okay.
Just put it in perspective, he didn't change yet. The Joker changed now.
But it's still Adam West Batman.
Not quite. But Batman is still, this is still deputized Batman, I bet.
Oh, okay.
So, we are still in the context of Batman and the cops working alongside each other, and because of that, he's a little bit more very well, chum. He's a little bit of that still.
Because I would just say, I have a very difficult time just imagining current brooding Batman just being hey, I've been hanging out here in the rain with my nice
I have
umbrella.
a hard time believing that none of the cops noticed him. Because all they have to do is look down and be like, well, you're wearing a blue cape.
It's not a normal outfit at all.
But, he wanted to examine the scene undisturbed, and he recognized the smile as the trademark of the Joker, and he found a Joker card nearby. This is actually something I did some research. The Joker smile shows up in the Joker's first appearance.
Oh, wow.
This is going back. This is classic Joker now.
That's pretty great.
And kills you. That was
Of course,
in
yeah.
the old one as well. He was a murderer in the Golden Age. But Gordon says he'll send out his best detectives to go catch the Joker, but Batman has a feeling the official channels will be too slow to prevent further killings. And he thinks to himself as he runs away to go take care of this himself, he thinks about how ever since the Joker escaped from the state hospital he was in, Batman has been expecting the Joker to turn up. But there was no way to search for him in a city of 8 million until he actually made a move. And now that he has, he suspects he knows the Joker's next move. He's kept a watch on the Joker's old gang, and one of them, Packy White, is a former boxer working as a janitor in a ratty old gym. Batman goes to Packy and finds him working out on a punching bag in the middle of a boxing ring. So he's just, working the bag, and Packy says, "The Batman! Hey, fella, good to see ya. Come on, let's jog while I work out." So they're still we're at that point.
Still hey, chummy, you're not
still,
going to break my arm or anything like that?
Yeah, exactly. He's not the creature of terror and they fight the same way.
Yeah.
Batman holds the bag as Packy punches it, helping him out, helping him work out.
Yeah, why not?
Batman says he believes the Joker has killed Packy's old friend. Philly Jack Barton is dead. As he trains, Packy, misses the bag and hits Batman and apologizes, and Batman says, "Perfectly all right."
Everybody gets one.
Packy asks what this has to do with him, then Packy misses again, hits Batman, apologizes, and Batman says, "Think nothing of it."
Well, that's a little weird.
Batman refers to the fact that one of Joker's old thugs betrayed the Joker. He doesn't know which one, and the Joker didn't know which one. The Joker vowed he'd kill them all.
Well, that's no good.
Packy says, "You figure he'll come after old Packy?" And now the two of them aren't around the bag anymore. They're just facing off in the ring. Still keeping up the friendly demeanor, but he's not swinging for a bag anymore. He is swinging for Batman.
That's weird.
Like they're working out. Batman says he thinks the Joker will systematically kill each gang member unless they're under police protection. Packy doesn't want to go, and, they're just straight up boxing at each other. And Batman, of course, lands several blows, and as he does, he says, "I can't force you to cooperate, Packy. However, you might just have an accident, a fist-type accident, and it might put you in the hospital, where officers could guard you until the Joker is caught. You can surrender yourself, or we can continue playing. Your choice, Packy. Make it." And Packy admits, being in jail isn't that bad as long as it's temporary. He's going straight. And he drinks some water to wash the taste of knuckles out of his mouth. And he says boxing lost a champ when the Batman put on his mask. He says, "It's kind of funny. You, the Batman, worrying about an old strong-arm artist like Packy? Yeah, real funny. So funny. It hurts." And he screams and dies with a sick grin on his face.
Oh, boy.
And Batman thinks, too late, he's been poisoned with the nerve toxin the Joker developed, the stuff that causes a person to laugh himself to death. And he kicks the pail of water and thinks, round one goes to the Joker. Meanwhile, in a seedy hotel room.
Jeez, you're right. This is a pretty dark opening.
It jumped up a notch. The Joker's talking to an old gang member, Albie. Albie seems surprised Joker's in town since he knows Batman's going to be looking for him, and Joker admits, yeah, Batman's going to catch him. Regardless of where he hides, he doesn't know when, he doesn't know how, but he knows Batman's going to catch him, and all he can do is hope to be ready when it happens, and he plans to be ready.
What is he setting up Home Alone style in his apartment?
Not in the hotel room, no. But he says, by the way, were you the one who betrayed me, Albie? And Albie says no, and the Joker says, all right, that's fine, and gives him a cigar. And he lights it for him, and as he smokes it, Albie realizes, he holds it out, and he goes, hey, I bet you're pulling a gag on me, right? I mean, this is like an exploding cigar, right? Same old Joker, always with the gags. Well, I can go along for the laugh. I mean, what harm can a little exploding cigar do, right? We cut outside and there's a huge explosion just comes out the window.
Oh my
gosh. A huge explosion.
Wow.
We cut back inside and the Joker is fine. He's standing.
Wait, so the explosion happened almost like a claymore, like in reverse?
We don't see how he survived, but we don't have to question it because we know.
Yeah.
And he's standing there, maybe he ducked or whatever, but he's standing in the smoking ruins of this room and he says, poor fellow, he guessed part of my joke. A pity he didn't guess the explosive in that cigar was nitroglycerin. Rest in pieces, Albie.
Oh, goodness. Well, he's going full tilt in this one. I mean, he's all in. I mean, we got the disclaimer at the top of the episode.
Yeah, so. I said so. Batman hears about the explosion on the radio. 3 out of 5 of Joker's old goons are already dead.
So Batman is batting not 1,000?
No, he's
batting about 0 out of...
He's losing. The 4th, someone named Bigger Melvin. I don't know why he has that nickname.
His name's Bigger Melvin?
Apparently.
No, you know what? We don't need to know who smaller Melvin is.
I don't know. Or Big Melvin? Like Big Melvin and
that's
Bigger
right.
Melvin?
There is a bigger Melvin.
Which implies at least 3 Melvins. Because if you have a choice between being just Melvin and Big Melvin or Melvin and Bigger Melvin, you wouldn't be bigger, so there has to be a third Melvin in there somewhere.
Absolutely. So this is really the mystery of the Melvins.
I think this is where the rest of the comic devotes its time. No, it doesn't.
I cannot wait.
Bigger Melvin lives on a converted garbage scow on the waterfront district. A Batman arrives, and Melvin sees him coming and thinks Batman found out that he mugged an old man in Gotham Park, so he runs. Batman's fast, but Melvin knows the docks better than anyone. He ducks around the boxes, through a sewer pipe. He comes out a mile away from his home, out of the sewer, totally scot-free. Except Batman is standing right there.
Of course, because he is Batman.
Because no one knows Gotham better than Batman.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
Sorry, Bigger Melvin.
He needs Bigger to turn himself over to protective custody, and Bigger agrees. He just wants to go back to his place, get his toothbrush before he goes to jail, essentially. And Batman says, that's a perfectly fine request.
I feel like at this point, Batman should just be like, no, you're in the car now. I'm taking you directly there.
Well, again, this is not our Batman. This is classic, sort of a more civil Batman.
I mean, the last guy did get exploded out of his own hotel room.
Yeah. Anyway, Batman agrees. The two head back to Bigger's place. Bigger asks Batman, can you take the lead if I'm in danger? And he says, yes, of course. That's totally fine.
Will you not stand idly by as I'm murdered by a clown?
Yeah.
I'll intervene.
Batman peers around the corner. He notes the coast is clear. And Bigger knocks him out in the back of the head with a belaying pin.
Aw, Bigger.
Well, here's the thing. He thinks Batman's trying to trick him. He thinks that Batman, again, knows about this mugging and is just trying to get him to turn himself in.
What a weird roundabout way. Like, he's Batman. Wouldn't he just bat cuffs? You're in the car. I mean...
Well, but, if he doesn't have to, if he doesn't have to beat you up, he may just say, hey, just get in my car.
Well, he's called Bigger Melvin. He's not called Smarter Melvin.
That's the problem. He goes back into his own place to get his toothbrush, as well as his gun and his knife before he flees town.
I never go anywhere without my gun and my knife and, of course, my toothbrush.
Just like any classic game of Clue, those 3 things that we all remember.
Yep, of course.
Gun, knife, toothbrush, of course. But, he just wants to get out. This silly Batman making up a story about the Joker. He thinks to himself, in a couple of minutes, my troubles will be over. He does not see the Joker standing in the shadows behind him. Batman wakes up a few seconds later. He says he didn't think Melvin would be that stupid. He should rest a minute. He should recover. He knows he should, but he can't. Bigger is still in danger. He gets to the house, to the boat, and he finds Bigger hanging from the ceiling.
Hung, really?
Hung.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's something about the imagery of like a hanging person.
Yeah, we only see the feet, but it's a very
but
unambiguous
even
thing.
That, even just the imagery of someone hanging just their feet or whatever, there's something just very tonally, extremely, to me at least, very dark about that.
It is.
It's very unsettling.
Yeah, and he thinks to himself the Joker is like a one-man plague. He shows up, he kills, and then he leaves. Or has he left? He senses danger and he starts to turn, but he's a moment too late. He's still dizzy from getting clubbed in the head with a very literal club.
Right. I mean, that's brain damage, essentially.
He is. He knows that.
Yeah.
The Joker clocks him and kicks him in the face, again knocking Batman back unconscious, and Joker puts his foot on Batman's neck. And then he thinks, his life is mine. I can crush the breath out of him effortlessly. I can at last triumph. But such a hollow victory. It was mere luck that caused my attack on him to succeed. I've always envisioned my winning as a result of cunning. At the end of a bitter struggle between the Batman and myself, him using his detective skills and me, employing the divine gift men call madness. No! Without the game that the Batman and I have played for so many years, winning is nothing. He shall live until I can destroy him properly. And he leaves.
Hey, he's a gentleman clown. He's not going to crush a man when he's down.
The clown prince of crime.
Hey,
remember, he's
the
a
clown prince. He takes it very seriously.
Batman wakes up, he takes a minute, he recovers, and he finds some sort of goo on his face left over from Joker's heel. It's a mix of something like crude oil and sand. He knows it's a clue, but he can't read it. He can't focus on it. He has to finish the job.
Because he's been knocked unconscious twice.
And he's been knocked unconscious twice in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a little bit of some...
brain swelling.
Yeah.
But he continues the chase to the last of Joker's crew, a forger named Bing Hooley, in a home for the aged. Batman thinks to himself, even criminals get old. Those who don't end up in prison, the gutter, or the grave. Which I guess if you get old, you'll still end up in the grave. But,
I mean, that eventually
But first you get an old folks
Look,
home.
Batman's still a bit dizzy, guys.
He goes to this charity home, and a nun tells him that Hooley is gone. He left with a dear friend, Mr. Genesius.
Genesius?
Genesius. She thinks it's so sweet that Mr. Genesius cares for old folks, but he says, I'm afraid not, sister. You'll recall that St. Genesius is the patron saint of actors and comedians. jokers.
Batman, just the best to have at a bar when you're doing trivia night.
Exactly.
Batman crushes at trivia night, guys.
He really does. Batman leaves and he thinks about how the Joker could have Hooli hidden anywhere. He could have a hideout on some rain-slick street. And then he remembers something. The word rain-slick street triggers something in his very foggy brain. As he was running around the city...
To be fair, this is when it's triggered, not when he's thinking about the famous actor, patron saint of comedians.
Yes, that's fair.
He's always accessing that weird part of his brain, but it takes a few minutes.
But as he was running around the city, he missed something obvious. It was literally on his face. He realized the Joker could only have picked up the mix of sand and crude oil from one place, and it's made to order for a criminal hideout. Yesterday, a tanker ran aground just off Gotham Island, dumping hundreds of thousands of gallons of crude oil into the sea. The storm has prevented any cleanup, and the wind has been pushing the fouled water towards the mainland. The beaches are full of it, and anyone walking along the beach would have sand and oil on his shoes.
So to be fair, Batman, world's greatest detective.
That's the one.
Who knows patron saints of actors and comedians.
Yeah.
Just remembered that thousands of gallons of crude oil just got dumped off the shore harbor of Gotham City. Like a tragedy on the level of the BP oil spill.
No, JJ, you're not giving him enough credit. Hundreds of thousands
of thousands of gallons just spilled. And like, what would be on world news considered a global tragedy? And he just remembered it now.
And probably affects business for Wayne Enterprises.
Clearly affects business for Wayne Enterprises. He had it all over his face. And the first thought is, man, I got all this crude oil on my face. Has anything with crude oil been in the news lately or affecting my business or affecting just the global economy of Gotham? Well, I gotta go to the nunnery. Go to the nunnery and tell them about patron saints of actors and comedians.
Batman pulls up at the aquarium, which closed last month. He has a tingling feeling again, a sense of danger. Exactly what he wants. He enters and the Joker's voice rings out. He's glad Batman found him. He missed their clashes while he was behind bars and dreamed of humiliating Batman in a specially humorous way. And Batman just says, care to begin? And we actually see the Joker standing on the other side of a glass tank with shark jaws, like just the bones of the shark's teeth.
Oh, okay.
So he's like framed in a picture frame of a
he's on
shark's
the other side
mouth.
of. Oh, so he's just on the other side of like a display case.
Exactly.
Right. I was gonna say for a moment I thought you said he's on the other side of like an aquarium glass. It's like he's in the water.
No.
Like in like a scuba gear, like Batman.
But
I can't tell you my master.
Pain. Oh no, wait, you don't exist yet. They chase each other through the aquarium. Well, I mean, Batman chases Joker through the aquarium.
Right, that would be weird. They didn't do a Benny Hill switch where he chases him through
they go through different doors. The Scooby-Doo
that would have changed the tone of this comic pretty fast.
Pretty much back to where we come
right back to
from.
66. Yeah.
The Joker throws a laughing gas grenade at Batman, but Batman has the antidote for himself, and the Joker's like, "All right, well, here we go."
Of course.
Yeah. Joker leads Batman into an exhibition hall and says, "Stop and take a look and see what I have." And he grabs a lever with his hand, and the lever is connected to a chain. The other side of the chain is a platform, and on that platform is Hooli, tied up and gagged in his wheelchair. Under the platform is a tank of water. Inside the tank of water is a shark.
Of course.
Joker says,
does the shark has a comically large smile drawn around its mouth with lipstick?
But he does say, poor fishy was hurt by the oil spillage. He salvaged this shark off of the beach, apparently.
Well, that's very nice of him, I guess.
To his own end, I suppose. If he flips the lever, the platform will drop Hooli into the water, and then the chair and all into the water. However, he'll let Hooli live if Batman lets Joker handcuff him. And Batman puts it together from there. He says, and then you'll drop me into the water? Of course. Obviously, that's what's going to happen next.
I mean, I guess there's still a fault there. Joker still has to get Batman up there, hook him up to the chain, and then drop him.
No, he's just going
to
push him in. He doesn't have to get him on the chain.
Oh, okay.
The chain is just the platform.
Right.
You just put him on the platform and just push him in. Batman agrees and asks why the Joker picked a shark as his instrument of revenge. There's a great panel of the Joker standing there smiling as the shark is looming towards the glass behind him. And he just says, take a look. We resemble each other.
Oh, the giant smile with the teeth.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, obviously.
Joker kicks Batman into the water, and then he drops Hooli in after him to be dessert. Batman says the Joker promised, and Joker says, I'm a notorious liar. Ta-ta!
Very true.
Yeah.
He's an insane clown man.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
The shark goes after Hooli, but Batman gets his hands out in front of him and hooks the handcuff chain through the shark's mouth. He rides the shark and tries to heave and break the shark's spine or something. That's his plan. It's just to, like, kill the shark. Or, like, break its jaw, break its spine or something.
And to be fair, that's a very Batman thing to do, to just snap a shark's back.
By the way, he is riding this shark.
That's amazing.
And he does. It takes him about 20 seconds. He's counting. He's keeping track. How long is it taking him to do these things? Because Hooli has not trained in Tibet to hold your breath for like 5 minutes at a time.
That's true.
He manages to kill the shark, but then...
So he does break its back?
Yeah, he breaks its neck or something, because the shark just drifts dead to the floor.
Wow. Batman breaks the neck of a shark in the water.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And he comments on the fact that, because we know Batman's greatest skill is preparation.
Yeah.
Well, it's really willpower, but, his greatest asset, his tool is preparation. But here he's not prepared. He says that this shark is in its own element.
Alfred totally said I should have taken that shark murder class.
That bat shark repellent.
But I totally took patron saints of random things instead.
To be fair, even Adam West Batman did blow up a shark.
He did blow up. Well, the shark was going to explode. It was an exploding shark.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
That's fair. Anyway.
But he did have shark repellent in a helicopter.
Batman takes the handcuffs off, which we don't even see it happen. It's just in the next panel, the handcuffs are gone.
We don't need that. We know Batman can get out of handcuffs.
We don't need to see it happen.
We don't need to be like, oh, look what I did.
No. And he uses Hooley's wheelchair to break the glass. It takes him 40 seconds. At this point, he thinks he's going to have to resuscitate Hooley and hope maybe he can get him to live again.
Right.
Breaks the glass. They get out of the tank, and Hooley is still breathing, to Batman's relief.
That's good.
He's still a sturdy guy, and that leaves him free to focus on the Joker. And he charges after the Joker. The Joker runs out the museum onto the sandy beach, where he has a getaway car with balloon tires, so he can just ride out on the beach.
Perfect.
Because it's very hard to drive on the beach. Like, it's really, really difficult to do.
Obviously, yeah.
And if he reaches it, he's gone. The sun is rising, but there's this shot, and it's iconic. I've seen this panel a lot. Not with the dialogue, but this panel of the Batman running, his hand out in front of him. You've probably seen it.
Yeah.
It's in the show notes, but his thought is, the night has taken its toll on me. The blows to the head, the battle in the aquarium. I can't get up to full speed, and he has a head start. But at that moment, the Joker slips on the oily sand and falls. He looks up, and the Batman is standing over him. Joker throws a few punches, but it's
at this point, you're on your back. Batman's on top of you.
It's Batman's fight.
You've lost.
He picks up the Joker and walks him back and says, "You're not laughing. Don't you see the joke?" And Joker says, "No, not funny." Batman says, "You're wrong. It is funny to think that you, my arch enemy, would make me grateful for pollution."
And then Captain Planet flew in and killed both of them.
Remember, kids, we've had a great time here tonight, but don't play with live power wires.
Oh my god, that's the final going out line.
Yeah.
Make me grateful for pollution.
Yeah.
Jeez, wow. Well, that was a great main segment, and that was really dark for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, that writer was really making a statement like, no, I'm leaning into the darker Joker all the way.
Let's be fair. Denny O'Neil knows his Batman.
Oh, yeah.
That dude did that book for years.
Well, that was pretty solid. All right, guys. Well, that will be taking us into our game segment, Who Am I? Who am I? All right, this is our game segment, Who Am I? This is the game where I will hold in my mind the name of a hero, villain, or anti-hero of Marvel or DC, and through a series of 20 questions, Mike will have to discern the identity of that hero, villain, or anti-hero. Now, there are some lifelines that Mike can use to help himself, as comics are crazy.
Yep.
So the two lifelines are he can request a quote that the hero, villain, or anti-hero might have said, remember, might have said, not what they actually said, and can also request an event from their life. So, Mike, let's kick things off. What is your first question?
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Male, female, or neither?
Male.
Hero, villain, or anti-hero?
Villain.
Does this character have superpowers?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
But you
Does not
had
have-
to think about it.
I did think about it for a second.
Okay. It's kind of an easy... It's kind of doesn't help so much these days, but we'll get it out of the way.
Sure.
Just to kind of separate us into two categories. Has this character shown up in a live-action feature film?
No, this character is not.
Okay. Is this character a Spider-Man villain?
No.
Again, cutting out a lot of options
Yeah.
there. Is this character an X-Men villain?
No.
Okay. Is this character a businessman of any type?
No, this character is not a businessman.
Okay. I'm going to go, we're at 8 questions. Going to go with the lifeline. Going to go with the harder one, the quote.
The quote is, "Join me, Reed. We are family, and together we can rule this world."
The Mad Thinker?
Nope.
The Wizard?
Nope. Wow, burning through your questions real fast there.
You know Dr. Doom's been in live-action movies, right?
I do know that,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Oh, wait.
Oh, wheels are turning.
Hang on. Is it Reed's dad?
Is the question, is it Reed's dad?
Is it Reed Richards' dad?
No.
Rats. I'm going to go with an event.
Ooh, already using up your second lifeline.
Yeah.
Okay, the event is, He once tried to save himself in an earlier timeline, but resulted in creating an antagonist for himself instead.
Okay. Wait.
Wait.
Kang the Conqueror?
What is your question?
Is it Kang the Conqueror?
It is Kang the Conqueror.
I forgot that Kang the Conqueror was related to
His
Reed Richards.
real name is Nathaniel Richards.
Yeah.
That's right, yep.
That's right.
He is family of Reed Richards. And Kang the Conqueror did go back in time, because the story of how Nathaniel Richards became Kang the Conqueror is when he was young, someone cut his throat.
Yeah.
And he spent a year recovering, and when he was recovering at home, he looked up like adventuring stories.
It was we should clarify, it was a bully who was roughhousing, and it went too far, and his throat got cut.
And he got really, because of staying home, he got really big into adventure, eventually led to finding a time travel, and became Kang the Conqueror. Well, Kang went back in time to stop this bully from doing this. He did, but then was like, hey, by the way, like
younger me,
you're gonna be Kang the Conqueror, and it's super cool. And he was like, I don't want to. And then he went and just
became Iron Lad
and started the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
And that's actually where Young Avengers came from.
Yep, that's right.
He's just all over the place. He's wacky, and I love that character so much.
So bizarre.
All right, guys. So again, the answer for Who Am I was Nathaniel Richards, Kang the Conqueror.
That's the one.
Yep. So that was episode 34 of Because Comics. We'll be posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at partialarc. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at partialarc.com, where he writes articles every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening, and remember...
Flashdance!
Oh my god, he's going for it! He's going for it!
Everything's bleeding!
Because comics.